We are live. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. Those of you that are here in person, which is beautiful, and those of you that are online, that's great. And if you are going to watch this recorded, that's also definitely many blessings to all of you. The information I'm going to share right now to all the class and ourselves, I want to let you know that I do feel strongly for it, not in a fashion that I believe in it, more that I observed and I've witnessed it. And I've witnessed people from all over the world, whether it be Thailand, whether it be parts of Australia, whether it be here in the United States. I've traveled quite a bit. But it applies to everyone regardless of your belief, your upbringing, your faith. Just know that no matter whose door it is, I'll go knocking and I'll do my best to help somebody from where they're at. So I'm going to open up with a little background. And my background is, as I was mentioning earlier to the class here in person, they got the blessing of having me here. But I did grow up in New York. I grew up in New York City, the Queens area. And being in the Queens area, I did have a upbringing of a Roman Catholic background. So I went to Catholic school, and my association to that faith was, my mother, I'll never forget my mother telling me that if I misbehaved, because I was a bratty little kid, that she gave permission to all the nuns to beat me if I misbehaved. So of course, as a child, being a little brat, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on fire. These nuns are scary looking. They don't play around. And I used to have those ties that if you misbehave, they just pick you up with the ties and you stop fighting, basically. So the reason why I bring this up is because it's important to know where we are. It's important to know, where I come from as well. And being in that, I guess not turbulent, but just challenging childhood sometimes, because it goes against some of your normal things you want to do. You start learning structure. And I think that's why it's important to me, just learn a structure, learn a foundation, and whether you as a child don't agree with it or not, or as an adult, same thing, if you follow that structure, you're going to see its ends. You should see its ends if you follow it. And obviously many of us who are, it doesn't matter the age, we've seen people fall. We've seen people who believe in a certain belief system or a medical practice, whatever it is. We're all human and we're all going to fall. We're all going to make mistakes. So the beauty of what I'm going to share with you is that this is something all of us can do at any level, any education, any means. And when I say any means, I've traveled the world penniless, homeless, jobless, with nothing, and I've proven that you can do this therapy with zero in your pocket, with zero resources, with zero, well, I would never say zero support, because every single person I meet is my angel. And that's what's most important. I think I learned that as a kid, that if we look at people that way, if we actually look at not what I can take from someone, but what I can get from them, what I can share with them, it just goes round and round. So it's important to share that because we need to know where we come from, why we come from. I offered the class in person, in Zoom, obviously for as affordable as I can make it to support the Chacana Center, to support my beautiful friend here who's doing the video work for us, and everyone here really. And this also goes towards, there's a beautiful person I'm going to be visiting in San Diego who's suffering stomach cancer. And Corinne, if you're watching this, lots of love and prayers to you from the beautiful people here and myself. And I look forward to being there for you and your fiance and everybody there. So this is in dedication. And those of you that cannot means, because you have other things you're worried about right now financially, of course, I did ask Shannon and myself, we do have opportunities to offer people that can't make it, maybe a free opportunity for them to see it, because it's understandable. Everyone's going through hard times, but no one needs to suffer the way some people are suffering. So we're trying to bring it together. So that's why I do that. So get back on the background. So that was my background as a child, and I'm paying attention to everything right now. So what led me from there? I left in New York in my teenage years, spent time in Florida. That's where I lived in Melbourne for a bit. But before that, I was in Miami, in Boca Raton. My parents had some challenges, and I had some challenges as a child seeing that. So they were no longer part of my life when I was pretty young, 15 or 16. Just because of their own circumstances, and I had some struggles to deal with, and it was very difficult for me. So that's when I started working jobs, supermarkets and barbecue pits and steak restaurants and even supermarkets. So I got to see what goes on in our food. And it may sound like, well, why is he saying that? Well, when you start seeing the food you really love and how they treat the food you really enjoy, why steak doesn't turn brown or gray when you get it and so forth. You start seeing the chemicals they use. And as a kid, you don't think much of it, or as a teenager, you don't think much of it. But now that I'm older, Like, oh, wait a minute. So that's why I'm mentioning it. At 18 years old, I joined the military. I joined the Navy. I was having my own shares of interest, but I wanted to get away from what was going on. But I also wanted to do something good for the rest of others. So in the military, I joined. It was a beautiful experience. I got to be a sonar technician, meaning that I was actually chasing submarines and so forth. And what's really beautiful about that and what I'm doing now, and I'm sure many of you may have that are watching this right now may have heard of frequencies, megahertz and frequencies and hertz this and hertz that, kilohertz and all that. As a sonar technician, we were able to identify submarines. I was able to identify submarines in other boats and airplanes and everything based on their frequencies. And much later, I'll find out that those frequencies are within us all of us, all humans and living beings resonate a frequency. And sometimes those frequencies could actually show illnesses, diseases, or great health, or really good health. So it's good to pay attention to that. As a sonar technician, it was fun, but I was also between 18 and 22. I did get married at a young age, right before I got out of the military. That marriage ended up in divorce. And it was tough. It was, we both went through some struggling emotional times, and neither of us I will never say about her anything negative. She's still in my life. I don't say hello every day, but she's a beautiful person, has moved forward in her life. It comes to my very important point, is that in order to heal, remember this class is unlocking and unblocking. Right. We have to also make penance. We have to make, not repentance, but at least accept, hey, you were part of my life and you're beautiful, and I'm grateful that you're in my life then, and grateful that you're in my life now if you wish to accept. And that's part of healing. That's an amazing part of the healing process. And I dealt with that with so many people with many degenerative issues that I'll get to pretty soon. So after the divorce, I don't know if anyone's ever gone through a troubled relationship. Anybody in the room? Any relationship trouble? All right, enjoy those. Well, it's part of learning, it's beautiful learning. And if we can get to a point where we can learn from it, can communicate further, we learn from this experience. So great example, I met someone wonderful, as an example, 10 years ago. I just reunited with them, and just seeing how their life is going. It's the most beautiful, magical experience, because we can see, hey, this is how you influenced my life that many years ago and through till now. And they can see how they've influenced my life. Like, I'm more mellow, less militant, less strict, and they're more, they have their structure. And it's beautiful to see them flourish and live sometimes a better life without you, and sometimes challenging life without you. But it doesn't matter. The fact that they lived without you is a beautiful blessing. That's the whole point of what I'm going to be teaching with Unlocking and Unblocking. We empower ourselves, we empower others. We're not dependent on others to heal ourselves, I promise you. Right now, everything going on with the, got to be careful what words to use, but with the Voldemort thing going on, that's he shall not be named, this stuff going on, we have learned that whenever there's an opportunity for others to take that empowerment away from you, they'll take it. So what I'm going to do is share some wisdom, some experiences that was shared with me when I transitioned. And one of the things that occurred with those relationships is that I did put myself into support groups, went to Al-Anon, Alcoholics Anonymous, Sex Love Addicts Anonymous, and other things. Not because of the first part of it, but I felt I had issues with relationships and the idea of love. And so it took a lot of progress to get to that point. So resource-wise, I always recommend, reaching out to a book, reaching out to others that may have a better grasp at that, or at least a way to look at differently. And fortunately, I did get that. Best thing is when you're not doing things to the field that you want to, that degree, reach out to someone who maybe a book, might be a person, physically or professional, but reach out. Don't feel that you have all the answers. So when I get to the therapy, it's exactly that. It's not based on what I know, but what I can continue sharing and blessing with others. So transition from there, I did gain a lot of weight. I drank a lot more alcohol, became angry, kind of washing away my pain. And that's where I gained quite a bit. I joined the military again in 2003. And at that point, I was obviously allowed to get in, but I'd gained more. And by that time, May 2004, I had looked at myself in the mirror and I said, what happened to you? I said, this isn't someone I recognize. Like my face was bloated, my body felt bloated, I felt sluggish and painful, I had trouble sleeping, anger issues, you name it, and other physical problems. Knees hurt, back hurt. I couldn't run more than a mile. I couldn't even run barely. It was really sad. But it wasn't about the athletic performances. I looked in the eyes, in the mirror, and I looked at my own eyes, and I said, who is this? What is this why do you feel this way? And I remember I tried Nutrislim, Slim Fast, Hydroxycut, whatever kind of vitamin thing that was out there to lose weight. I tried, even crazy fasting and stuff. I lost weight and gained back, and I was more miserable. And then I came across a radio show talking about this cleanse, and I thought, oh, this is crazy. But you know what? I got nothing to lose. So I did something, and I'm going to point to a resource. If anybody wants to note this resource, you're welcome to do it. It's definitely not the end-all for everything, but if you're generally in decent health and don't have any major issues, you can actually look at the resource, and it can be very helpful. And this I did in May 2004. It's called the Stanley Burroughs Master Cleanse. And the PDF is available online for free. You can pay maybe $1, maybe $5, I think, online if you really want to contribute to wherever they go. But it is free. Stanley Burroughs Master Cleanse. And once again, I was struggling. I thought, what is this? Well, it's 10. I'll break it down really simply. It's 10 days. So the time is 10 days. You're drinking lemonade made out of lemons, maple syrup, cayenne pepper, and you do a saltwater flush. Once again, this is not the Gerson Therapy. I'm just going to lead you to there, but I'm going to talk about what brought me there and why I hold strong on the Gerson Therapy. But the Master Cleanse was what I first was introduced to in that respect. I did lose the weight. I did feel really good. Like, how can I exercise and feel good, while I'm not eating anything, I taught myself. And there was nobody there to help me. The only thing I had on the Navy ship, because I was going on deployment for until December of 2004, May to December, was a Bible. There was no, and that's just because they didn't have books. They all had a Bible, and like, the internet wasn't really popular in 2004. Not yet. It wasn't as big. And our internet was so slow anyway, if we did have anything. So all I could find is like whatever passage and just miserable feeling I had in my heart, like, hey, let me feel something good in here. And I was crying, of course. It was just depressing. Nobody to talk to because you're a guy. You can't talk to other guys of your feelings. But little by little, I started seeing progress, and I felt like unblockage. Unblocking. The class, unlocking and unblocking. So I felt this blockage release, and it was emotional, it was physical. And once I released the blockage, after the third day, that's what typically it takes for this thing, I started feeling much more looser, like, wow, I never thought. And then I just started losing weight, like, without effort. Like, this is crazy. And I lost 90 pounds, and it was, like, unbelievable. Like, I said, what the? It was weird because I wasn't pushing myself to lose the weight. I just kept on feeling good. My sleep got better, my frustrations, my anxiety. Yes?
So that was off of just that cleanse?
That was the cleanse got me I guess you initiated, excuse me. And then I followed up the cleanse with just eating a diet devoid of I didn't even think about it because back then being plant-based or quote-unquote vegan or gluten-free, all those things didn't exist to me. I just thought, I'm going to eat stuff that's not so heavy. So for me in the Navy, it was lots of veggies, lots of rice, potatoes. So I tried to avoid the meats, and not because of any reason. I just thought this felt a little better. And it felt great. And every time I did kind of eat the other stuff, the chicken or whatever, I felt, oh, I don't feel so good. I felt really sick. So maybe the meat in the Navy is bad. Probably really bad. Maybe that was a contributing force, But the lemonade thing was good enough, and it unblocked. And that's the beauty of it, that I didn't have to do it for a prolonged period of time. It just released the blockage, like heavy blockages needed to go, and then my body just was melting away. And it felt great. I felt this energy to move, to walk, to not excessive exercise, because that's the whole point. You shouldn't, at least for myself, I was in pain. My joints hurt. I mean, I was overweight at the time, and I just started seeing, the difference, because typically when I was heavier, I was 225 pounds and a little over sometimes. But generally people tell you, you need to work out more, and it's painful. You're carrying extra, and your joints are pain, everything's pain, but the opposite should be first. Release a lot of the water and the heavy stuff to flush out, and then move a little more, gently, and then you don't have pain in your joints, you don't hurt your joints, you don't twist anything, and it's a different approach. Because everyone that I know that's struggling with that issue, they go to a special exercise class, and I have friends that I love to death. They go to these intense classes, and then they're out for like 3 weeks, because they hurt this and they hurt that, And I'm like, what are you doing? That's terrible. If you can't do it, don't do it. You know, just help your body assist it gently. So get back on there. So I lost the weight. At the end of the deployment, I was excited because I thought, man, I'm in great shape. I worked out, I lifted a lot of weights now, because now I felt better, you know, about myself. I felt confident. And this is where I learned about the support. So of course, like, I reached to the communication with my friend when I got back from deployment. I said, Joe, man, I feel great. Look at me, I feel good. Let's go to the beach. You know, you got the beach body now, right? The mentality. And we see advertisements for marathons because it's coming up in December right after my deployment. And I think, I could do that. You know, you say the dumbest things. You're like, I could do that. And my friend's like, all right, let's do it. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do that. But you feel like arrogant, and then your friend backs you up. This is the point. You want your little angels that don't even know they're angels. You want them to say those things to, you know, like, it's that friend that kind of pushes you a little more. Not the friend that tells you drink a little more shots, or the friend that says, he just called you with this, and not that friend. So this friend got me to do the marathon with him, Joe, and I remember we both signed up. We went to the run. It's not the most pleasurable experience for someone. It was really, but it was worth doing it because it was like an accomplishment. And if you want to learn the meaning of humility and being humble, walk, run, whatever you want to do the marathon. But I promise you, when you got an okay looking body, a young person or whatever at the time, you get beat by every 60, 70, 80-year-old person, and they're all smiling at you too, like, hey, what's going on, Sonny? All right? And their pace is like a walk. You're like, why is this guy walking? He's beating me. And then you're like in your 20s or your 30s. You're like, ah! and he walks past you. He's smiling at you again. And then there were so many times I wanted to quit the marathon, and as I'm running, boom, these people holding a little bracelet, like blind people, are passing you. And then the person changing out their prosthetic legs are beating you, and you're like, oh man, I can't give up. You know, I feel even worse. And so I made the end of the marathon, and guess what I did? At the end of the marathon, I wanted to celebrate because I was beat, exhausted. I said, I'm going to have that ice cream that I haven't had. I have to deprive myself. So I went to the Cold Stone Creamery. If you've ever been there when it was really busy and popular, you have to wait like 30 minutes for an ice cream. You know, it's a big line in Hawaii, in Waikiki. And I remember they did the whole strawberry banana, making it look really pretty. I'm like, my mouth is watering right now. I'm thinking about it. It's so good. And it's like, oh man, I deserve this. I worked so hard. I got a good body and fit. I'm excited. This is what I was all for. This is my everything. So I get the ice cream, and I kid you not, I take the scoop. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the best ice cream flavor I've ever had. And it's banana and strawberry. It's got to be good for you, right? I remember I got it close to my lips, and I'll never forget. Like, and I still remember, like, my hand started spasming. Like, what's going on here? Like, this is weird. Maybe I'm having a spasm from the run. I'm depleted or something. And I was like, pushed the spoon into my mouth. Right there, I felt my throat choke up, like just like that. And I was like that, like, you know, that whatever the feeling is, I just like that noise. And I was like, and it just wouldn't go down my throat. And I was like horrible. It's like a little child with everything, and I can't have it. I can't enjoy it. So I asked for water. Water had like sandpaper going down my throat. So I put the ice cream down. I was just like crying almost, looking at this ice cream just melt in front of me at the beach. And finally I passed out. I woke up, and then I started building that little association, that bridge in my head. Why, after being so quote unquote clean, would my body reject something I adore and love? There's healthier ice cream, of course there is, but my body was just being it was awake. It was unlocked, it was unblocked. Living a way that even that moment in 2004, I didn't know what was ahead. I just thought, man, I can't wait to enjoy a beer again. I can't wait to enjoy, things had changed. I became a lot more, just my body was very sensitive. And I thought, you know, sometimes we associate those kind of irritations, those sensitivities, the sickness we think, to being sick. And in reality, my body's flushing stuff out. And with the master cleanse, at the time, the means that I knew, where it's changed now, but the saltwater flush would actually, you need to do it in the mornings, and in the evenings, it would flush out all the stuff that's released into my body. Where some people just do lemonade or do a juice cleanse or whatever, but they never unblock. And when that was unblocked, that cork was released, it released all that stuff, and just everything was just flowing out of me. So, what's that question? Wow. Yeah. It was an amazing feeling. It's not fun the first couple of days, but it gets fun after the third day. It's like, wow, I can't even believe I have so much energy. And my sleep, amazing. And my attitude, amazing, because now I don't feel dependent. I feel like a master. And even if you try the master cleanse for one day, You got to celebrate. Even if you go back to, you just can't handle it more than that, celebrate and say, hey, I did 1 day. Then try it again. I did 2 days, 3 days, and so forth until you can do it, because the last thing that you want to experience is like, oh, I failed and this is terrible, or this isn't for me. Just get back on the bicycle. We all learned how to ride a bike. We all learned how to walk as babies. Babies fall on their butt like a million times and they get right back up. So we got to remember, we got to be gentle with ourselves. It's part of releasing, unlocking, and unblocking, the purpose of this class. So once I experienced that, I remember in 2007, I was excited because I changed my lifestyle to go more plant-based. And once again, I say it with some complete sincerity, I didn't follow any quote-unquote vegan or this blog or gluten-free or sugar-free. I just didn't know. I just noticed this is how I felt good. I'm going to continue doing it. In 2007, I came across, I was into documentaries now, like, oh, Food Inc., Food Matters, and all these, like, this is cool. What? They're doing that to the food? No, I'm getting angry, like, nah, that's not true. And then from there, you start watching the movies about, like, you know, the animals hurting and so forth. And I'm like, oh, what? And like, all I'm watching is like negative, sad, depressing stuff. So finally I watched, well, let's watch a simple one. Flow, for the love of water. That's a happy sounding, it's not happy. It was all depressing about how the water's polluted and how in Africa, Nestle owns the water rights and all that stuff. So, but fortunately there was a commercial at the end of the documentary. It was like, and it was a stern, it was a really cool, catch you in your face kind of documentary teaser trailer, like, there is a cure for cancer and this and that, and the strong German voice, like, what the heck is going on here? And it's like this woman, Charlotte Gerson, is speaking, and you're like, in the United States or wherever in the world, you're only allowed to do this, this, and that. So of course I'm intrigued, but because I'm all about revealing and exposing at this moment, like, that's not true, that's not true. I can live off of lemonade, I can live off of plants, because I didn't believe that was possible. And I had a really good body and worked out all the time. So everything I thought, milk does the body good, you need this protein, you need that, I was disproving all those things. And I was running like 20 miles a day, working out like crazy, and I felt amazing. I remember I got in trouble one time because I swam in the water in Waikiki, next to the Isle of Wight Canal. And I got in trouble because I was in the military at the time. And I get out and there's a news reporter. And there was a lot of signs all over the beach, but nobody was swimming. And it was all in Japanese, the signs, because there's a lot of Japanese tourists. So the news person comes to me, and of course I'm arrogant and I'm full of myself. So I was like, do you mind if we ask you a few questions? I look good. Yeah. Yeah, that's the mentality I had. I was so stupid, so dumb, so oblivious. Yeah, I'll answer some questions, not knowing that my face will be on the news where the Navy people will be really angry at me for making statements. I'm like, yeah, I'll say whatever. I'm a good guy. And she goes to me, are you not concerned? She put the microphone, are you not concerned of the spillage, the sewage spillage in the
Oh my God.
It's like a comedy movie, you know. There's crap in the water. You're swimming in it, smiling, your teeth. Like a deer, you know, corn nuts in your mouth. But I looked at this news person and I said, what? I was like, yeah, it's like, well, it's not that attractive. I'm swimming in poop. So she says, you're not concerned, like the hepatitis, this and that. And of course I have to save face. I'm like, I'm so precise with my food and my diet and my health, and I know every little alkaline thing and, you know, whatever. I was just spouting stuff, right? I said, I know my body and I'm going to be fine. And then I go back to home. I come back to the Navy job and stuff on my ship. Boom, Petty Officer Cerna, come to this office, and I'm in trouble because I made a public statement. Like, and then they question me like, how dare you, this and that. I said, listen, if you're going to be that concerned over statements and stuff in public health, why don't you just ban cigarettes on the ship? Yeah, but then I got more in trouble, so I said, all right, you're right, I lose this argument. So that's my little story where it comes to some of the transitions. So after that revelation, and talking about the documentary, A Beautiful Truth, that's where I was exposed to this documentary that spoke about the cure for cancer. And so that was my then. I'm still getting on that then, my background. I watched this documentary, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable because the claims and the facts and the resources and everything was pretty legit. It was pretty straight. Like, this is what's going on with your teeth, with the air, with the water, with the food. And this is a method to help get the body right with that stuff, assist the body. Because one of the things I didn't have a full comprehension yet of is when you start doing a change to your body, your organs suffer. We've all generally been, all of us, and definitely me, have had some form of medication, whether over the counter, whether it be prescription, whether it be recreational. Some people do whatever substance, whether it be I smell incense. Everything has an effect on our body. It doesn't mean that it's evil or bad. It just means that it has an effect. And sometimes it's a little more difficult to get out. I travel quite a bit, so even the pollution, the petrol. So, and in the Space Coast here in the Melbourne area, there's a lot of residue and other materials that are coming from that, in the military bases. So I'm not pointing fingers of who's right or wrong. I'm just saying when we do any cleansing, anything like that, even exercises really, we're stimulating movement in our body. We're releasing some things. And if you are not aware of how to support your organs are going to be burdened. And not knowing how to assist those organs in supporting it, releasing it, is vital. And that's where we're getting towards the Gerson therapy, where I didn't know. So I learned this therapy, or excuse me, of it. I didn't learn it yet, but I learned of it, and I was excited. But I also, this is around 2007, I was excited because Anthony likes to expose, and this is not true, and whatever. So as much as I wanted to believe it, I also wanted to believe the possibility that it didn't exist, because in my family, I have people that have some major illnesses, and I don't want to tell them like, oh, there's a cure. There's a cure. You feel like a jerk, and they're taking medication for whatever they take. And I remember at the time in 2007 or 8, I was experimenting with learning different cool things, fasting, water fasting. Not to say it's cool. I'm just saying it's water fasting, dry fasting, juice feasting, 100% plants, 100% fruits at one-time diet. Just experimenting, seeing what I did. What worked for me. Blood type diet, Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine, you name it. I was really interested in learning, well, what's the right answer? Everyone has a different solution to something, and it can't be that complicated, but everything seemed more complicated. So in 2007, I made the move to San Diego because I wanted to start working and volunteering at the Institute. I already helped start a nonprofit organization. The nonprofit organization in Hawaii helps children with disabilities. I met a really good friend of mine at the Shriners Hospital for Children, and he came up with a really cool idea to help people with, how should I say, with disabilities to go into the water, to go surfing, to adaptive surfing, swimming, kayaking. And once again, this is part of the unlocking and unblocking, because I found out as I helped those children, I'll never forget one of the children, Case, his name is Case. He said, "Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for coming out here and helping us with the surfing and so forth." And my answer immediately to Case was like, "No, thank you, but thank you deeply." I said, I wasn't saying it to be patronizing. I meant it. I said, you're making me see things that I didn't even know was possible. And it was amazing because sometimes being around some people and what they give off, their projection, is powerful. It's healing. Perfect example is Kyle and his mother Valerie. I remember Kyle was a little bean. I think he had a cerebral palsy or something where his body was just contorted in a way, like a bean, and he was in his, I think 21 at the time I met him. But at the time, at that moment, I thought, as much as I love people, everyone, children, old, whatever, disabled, I just never had contact that close to someone, a mother taking care of someone at that stage and in the water, getting in the water. And I promise you, at that moment, I thought to myself, man, this has got to be a burden for this poor woman and maybe the other siblings, and maybe she should have let him go. And I really felt that way at that moment. And I remember the moment he touched the water, I remember Kyle just making some little weird noises. He had the trachea here or whatever. And at that time, I'm in Kailua, and I saw the water perfect blue, sun perfect, sky was everything perfect. Anybody could say it was a perfect day in Hawaii to be in the water. But being at that moment with Val and Mark and myself helping him in the water, and just that excitement, that shared excitement, made me realize that he has a purpose. So these are our angels, and that's why I'm sharing this. As part of the unlocking process, the unblocking process, which I go back to all the time, is recognize, be thankful for those angels. Those people that challenge you, challenge the way you think, the people you gotta recognize, the person that honks their horn at you, that yells at you, the pain in the butt, when I see someone push, I remember this old man trying to push his truck, I jump out and go help the guy, and any opportunity you have, it's our responsibility to be that angel. That little moment is gigantic. So in San Diego, I'm here, and it all plays a part with the unlocking and unblocking, because, there are some moments where you kind of give it up. You're like, we're trained, women that are here in the room especially, and then online, oh, you're pregnant? Let the man handle it. Let someone else handle it. That's what we're trained. You can't even take care of your own baby, your own body anymore. If your parent is old, send them to someone else. If your baby's in pain, you send them to a nurse. So we're so trained to let other people take responsibility, and typically it doesn't work out well. This is where I'm getting at. So we're at the Gerson Institute, and I'm volunteering here, and because I'm a charming guy, I try to smile my way through things, and I think, I'm going to answer some phones and do what I need to do. At the Gerson Institute, they were doing patient intakes to send them to the clinic in Tijuana. I think it's called the HIT clinic, but definitely be very specific if you're looking for that clinic, only certified clinic, because there are a lot of places that sprout up that will claim, but they're not certified, and I've had to help people from those messes a lot. So there at the Institute, I meet these people that are just coming out from everywhere, and they look like they're dying when they come through the processing. And 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, I see them come through, and they're like smiling and looking full of life. And to me, it was unbelievable. It still is unbelievable thinking some of the things I saw. One of them was a small woman, I think of Asian background, but she had she had this hair, really beautiful, but kind of curled up, and so it's a little odd. Typically Asian has straight hair, so I noticed it. It was beautiful, and she walks up to me and asks me to to pull her hair, and I go, oh, okay. What do you want me to pull your hair for, right? And she was a little Korean woman. She lived in Canada, and she wanted me to pull her hair. I was sitting on the chair. I was like, all right, this is kind of crazy, but okay. And she says, no, pull hard. I said, all right, this is weird, but okay. And then after I did that, she's bouncing around the offices and yelling, cheering, whatever, right? And I remember sitting down. I'll act like I'm sitting. So I'm sitting down here, and I go to the next person. I go next to me. I said, why are the people acting so like this way? And why she asked me to pull her hair? And she goes, Anthony, don't you know? She's being treated for breast cancer. And she wanted to show you that typically when you see someone with breast cancer, their hair is falling out. They're suffering whatever it is. And really, back then in 2007, that's exactly what I thought. I thought cancer makes your hair fall out and all the stuff you associated with it, but it's the treatment. And that shocked me. It was a slap in the face to me, because I didn't know this. Every time I see a picture on a billboard of St. Jude's Children's Hospital or whatever it is, it's a bald head, and I only assume cancer. I never assume it's the treatment, the chemo, yeah. So it really shattered me, and of course Rady's Children's Hospital in San Diego also and there's other places that treat children this way, and other people of course. But I started building a different looking at things. I saw correspondence from people who were on the therapy or finished the therapy, and they just follow up with them. How are you doing? Some of the letters I saw were interesting, but I never saw anything really negative. I saw, hey, our father has passed away, as an example. Our father's passed away. We appreciate the improved quality of life you shared with us, and it was consistently. I was like crying reading these, because you would think somebody would be like, F you whatever, damn you for suffering something or other, and something, but nothing. Everything was constantly positive, and it was heavy me. So I remember 2000, and I read the therapy, and I was excited about it. But I never applied the stuff myself until I was, think I was ready. 2007, I was still in the military. I was going to get out in 2009, but I think I was getting confident enough from listening to phone calls, and constantly, if somebody had called me, they would ask me a question about the therapy, a daughter or a mother. My mother's suffering or my daughter's suffering, and I would just spit stuff out. And I was told, get the book. This is not the book. The Healing the Gerson Way is the book. This book here is Dietary Healing. It's also on the Gerson Therapy, but this is a different book. Healing the Gerson Way is the one written by Charlotte Gerson. This one here is written by Kathryn Alexander, and it's really good. This goes into a lot of detail, very specific. If you have a background in medicine and so forth, this can go into detail with blood work and blood lab work. The Healing the Gerson Way is it's much more easier for everybody, like anybody and everybody at any level. So that's where I was excited. And at the time, in 2008 or 2007, I was experimenting with, they call it the mucusless diet healing system. And this is something that predates, or maybe around the same time as Dr. Max Gerson. And the diet is very simple, similar to what Dr. Max Gerson had shared. Dr. Max Gerson in the 1920s suffered really severe migraines, terrible migraines. And when he became a doctor, he thought he'd be able to find a resolution to his migraines. And when he approached his other medical associates, his other doctors, he would say, hey, what can we do to cure the migraine? And the answer was, there's no cure. You either grow out of it or you don't. Those are the two choices. And so Dr. Max Gerson went out of his way to just eliminate things from his diet to see if that would make a difference. And the reason why I brought up the mucusless diet healing system by Professor Arnold Ehret is because I found that to be the closest, not exact, but the closest to Dr. Max Gerson's diet, meaning that he eliminated everything up until Granny Smith apples. And he's like, I can't live off of just Granny Smith apples. I can't tell this to my patients. But he noticed no more migraines. Migraines are gone. He was bedridden for 2 or 3 days sometimes with these migraines. So he did this and he started adding some foods. And his foods and his diet much resembled the book, Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet. So it's possible he could have taken some information from there, or inspiration at least. If not, it's still similar. And this is back in the 1920s in Germany where food was food. Let's admit it. Back then, the stuff we have then versus now was almost completely different. So he got healthier and he started introducing vegetarian food. So he realized that his diet was strictly vegetarian. No salts, so sodium chloride was eliminated because the moment he added sodium chloride, it's table salt, he got really sick. And if he needed that flavor of salt, he would just consume salty vegetables. That would be like kales, chards, garlic, onion, tomatoes are salty. And remember back then, the flavorful vegetables existed as such. Celery, yeah, now it's almost no taste, yeah. So he also eliminated fats. So that was a really big thing. He noticed the fats back then. And remember back then when they ate meat and other dairy products and things like that, they was straight up from the farm, whatever, right? Directly to farm to table. So even then he had to eliminate the fats and he saw he was getting healthier and also the excess protein. So he, once again, stuck on a vegetarian diet and he found success. So when he found the success, he thought, oh, I cured migraines. I don't have any more migraines. He shared this recipe, his therapy, with his patients. So imagine going to your doctor and your doctor telling you like, oh, you got migraines? Here's a recipe. Go eat these foods, avoid those foods, you'll be fine, good to go. And many people were cured. All people were cured with that. And then he had patients that came up to him and said, look, Dr. Gerson, your therapy did this to me. They lifted up the shirt and there were these what looked like burn marks almost. And Dr. Max Gerson said, were you burned or something happened to you? You got all these scars what should I do about that? And he said, no, this is my condition before. Here's my paperwork. I had lupus vulgaris. It's a form of tuberculosis, of skin lesions. And it was healing. And he's like, this is going away. Your therapy is curing me. And Dr. Max Gerson was like, that's impossible. There's no way. My thing is just for migraines. It's just a chance, fluke. But then he found that taking this recipe and getting it studied by a really well-known doctor in Vienna, I believe, and they said, let's take 500 patients, put them in a controlled environment and do this therapy on them, and if they're cured, then we can write it down and take a win. So he did this, had 500 patients, did the whole therapy thing. After a short period of time, I think it was 2 weeks, or maybe up to 3, everybody failed. So he said, oh, good, it makes sense. This therapy is just a fluke and it only works for migraines. As he was leaving and cleaning up his office, he saw one of the nurses, the people that were helping, the attendants, had like bags of like pretzels and bratwurst and beers, like carrying them or whatever, and cigars. And he said, what is this? What are you doing? It's like, these people are suffering enough, she said. It's not fair for us to deprive them of these treats, of the pastries and the pretzels and the bakery goods, whatever. And Dr. Max Gerson said, oh, no, everybody get back in. Fired the whole staff, put the entire staff on the Gerson protocol, and 450, I believe, out of 500 were completely cured of vulgaris, so lupus vulgaris, and the other 50 or so were already resolving all the issues. So it was proven. They documented all this, and then when he came back to his hometown in Germany, he brought this therapy. He was curing people with lupus vulgaris, and that's when he came across Albert Schweitzer. Albert Schweitzer is a very well-known, at the time, Nobel laureate. He's a Nobel Prize recipient. So he cured him of diabetes. And that was impossible. I mean, nobody thought of the possibility of that. So he praised him. He wrote about him. He kind of had his back. He was his angel. Once again, these are about angels and unblocking and unlocking. And so because of his notoriety and his being famous and so forth, it kind of helped Dr. Max Gerson not lose things, you know, in that way. So, so from there, he had success with that. He had success with arthritis. Finally, he came across a woman with a cancer, and she had told him, like, I heard about this soup, Hippocrates soup. Can you do the therapy on me and also include this soup and a couple other things? And that's when Dr. Max Gerson introduced the soup and a couple other components, and he started seeing resolution of her cancer going away. So all these things were things I learned at the Gerson Center. And it was amazing because, like, once again, I saw the correspondence, I saw the people, I decided to get certified. So as I was getting out of the Navy, 2009 of November, I wanted to get certified. I also wanted to get certified as a yoga teacher and go help children in Thailand. And it was an exciting adventure because I did get certified, I did do the internship, so I did the entire Gerson therapy process on myself. And I did see some changes in my body. I may not have suffered the other really extreme cases of cancers, but I remember from taking that, I started shifting into the now. So that's where I started seeing my life change drastically in a positive way. So I had to overcome my background. My background was almost like whatever you were given, you just deal with. You can't change, you know, your background. That's the truth. But then now I'm here with the present. The present is like, oh, you got this, I got this. Let's get to it. Now that I've got an army of angels, I feel more unstoppable. Like, you know, you got a challenge, I got my backup, and it's like you feel empowered. So that's part of the whole process of really releasing, unlocking and unblocking, and feeling like there's something else to achieve. And once again, that also means opening doors that you may not want to have opened, because, you know, some people have told you that this goes against a medical, let's say, this goes against a faith thing, a religious thing, or it goes against orthodox thing. And I've helped people of all backgrounds, Christians to Muslims to atheists, to spiritual people that didn't believe in that but believed in their way, and the results were the same consistently. Same with diets. Doesn't matter where their diet was, where their background was, the therapy has worked, in my experience, consistently. My first case was in 2010. I don't know how much I can say with privacy, but he's passed on. But this is good. He lived a good life after I helped him. 68 years old. I helped him. He had stage 4 lung cancer. I met him in Eugene, Oregon, and I was completely apprehensive of the therapy. I didn't believe it can work. I saw what I saw, people getting better, but I never applied it to another person. And because I was strict, and because I was very fortunate to be in the institute when Charlotte Gerson was still living, I had her slap my hand a few times when I didn't prepare something correctly, and it had good influence, had great teachers, wonderful people, everybody there that helped me. So I remember when I helped Mr. Sage, that's what his name was, I remember when I met him at the airport, he was walking, and like he could barely walk, and I was talking to him, walking with him to the Eugene airport to get to his place, to his car. I asked him, how's your pain, how are you feeling? He said his pain is level 10, sometimes level 8. Right now he's like feeling kind of painful, but he's here to greet me. And I said, oh wow, I was scared. I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm doing morphine, I'm doing marijuana when I can. He smoked it. He was doing CBD oil. It's called RSO oil, Rick Simpson oil he called it. He did other things. And because I didn't know what I was doing, I called the institute and I said, I knew the books, but I didn't, this is my first case. And I said, what do I do with this person taking such and such and such? And they told me you can't do the therapy while he's doing these other things. And because the results can be very, very dangerous, you know. So I told Mr. Sage, I said, listen, the institute, I called them and they told me not to continue the therapy, but I can help you in other ways while I'm here at your house for 10 days. And he just went off on me, cursed me out, called me a narc, all these other horrible things. And I said, yeah, I'm Colombian from blood, so I got my background, man. We don't snitch. It's not what I'm here for. We get killed if we do that. So I was joking with him and stuff, but he was just yelling at me, getting angry. I said, listen, do me a favor. He already bought the medicine to kill himself. It's called death with dignity in Oregon. It's a legal thing, and I don't know much about it, but he said he bought it, and he already expected to kind of, leave this earth. And it was hard because I never knew what that was. So give me 3 days. In those 3 days after that, if it doesn't work, I'm with you. I'll help you with whatever you need. And he was just angry at me. So we didn't talk for 3 days straight. On the third day, I felt miserable. I felt like, this isn't cool. Every time I walked by him, I kind of ignore him. He ignored me. I made him his food and his juice. And what happened was on the third day, I said, Mr. Sage, I'm sorry that, that we started off in such a bad foot. It's my fault, and I should be more sensitive, and you're going to leave this earth anyway. Do what you want to do. He looked at me, he's like, what? I feel amazing. I feel great. I'm doing the juices, like 14 juices a day. Is it 13? It's a lot. It's 8 ounce. It's an 8-ounce glass of carrot and apple juice, and also a specific green juice, Gerson Therapy juice, and carrot juice throughout the day. So every hour he's drinking juice, with some exceptions here and there, with supplements as well. And he's also doing the soups, the food, and the enemas. Enemas becomes parts of the therapy. And he's like, I feel amazing. I feel no pain. I feel incredible. I'm like, what? That's not possible. I don't believe you. Like, no way. It's like, he told me I haven't smoked weed, I haven't done anything, and no pain. I'm like, it's not possible. I don't believe you. And it's weird. I'm telling a guy who's dying, like, I don't believe you. But he was getting better. And he had this energy. He was playing with these giant Malamute husky dogs. He's got 3 of them. And he was like, unstoppable energy. And I would call the institute like, this guy's got so much energy. How do I put him down to rest and stuff? So, oh no, you gotta make him nap. And I was like, this is unbelievable. This guy went from dying in his bed to like not wanting to be in his bed ever. Like, and they told me he needs to use that energy. And this is the part of the unlocking, unblocking. You need to use that energy to recover, to heal. Sometimes we feel this oomph of energy, and we want to go exercise like I've done and so forth. But we need to use some of that energy to allow our organs to restore themselves. And that's the point of this therapy, is that it targets the liver. The liver, of course, cleans every cell. I believe it's every 3 minutes the entire, the red blood cell will travel throughout the entire body, approximately. And that helps clean your body out, almost like an oil change, you can say. So you're drinking the good, you're getting rid of the bad. That's what you're doing. You're flushing your body out that way in that system with the assisted of those supplements. And it's all temporary. You do it while you're on the therapy. When you're off the therapy, no longer. You're done with it. Therapy's done. There's specific juicers, there's specific equipment, there's specific ways scheduled to follow it, but following it through entirety. And so one of the things I can say that's incredibly paramount is getting the support. And the support right now is the people in our lives, people that may be resistant in our lives, that they may not want to be part of it at the moment, which is okay. And that's why you have books like Kathryn Alexander's Dietary Healing, her Nutritional Healing book, Dr. Max Gerson's book, A Cancer Therapy, or Charlotte Gerson's Healing the Gerson Way. That's the one I recommend the most because it's very easy to read. If you're on Facebook, there is a Gerson Therapy support group. The moderator is Kathleen Blake. I would reach out to that group because there are lots of recovered patients on that Facebook page group, and they will be happy to share their story. Typically, if you just reach out to them, they'll say what they did, and if they want to share more details and any kind of facts and documents, they will share it. I mean, they're happy they're alive. And that's the first person I helped was Mr. Sage, and from that point on, it was like momentum. Once I had that spark, I was like, well, what else can I do? What else can this work on? And he lived an extra 6 or 7 years after I helped him. He was 68 years old when I helped him, so he didn't die from cancer. And when we stayed in touch, he did tell me the one thing he regretted was that he bought that medicine to kill himself, and he couldn't get his money back. That's the truth, yeah. All the consultations, all the stuff, and yeah, the guy was on Coumadin, a blood thinner, for way too long, and he found out there's a lot of stuff being done to people that shouldn't be done to them. That's the nicest way to say it. And we find out, like my yoga teacher had said really well, like before you start worrying about medicines and surgeries and all these things, try to handle it at the simplest level, like before you have to go that route. Then you can use those in the most advanced stages. But after that, I was excited to see it work and see his energy. I couldn't believe it. And that was 2010. From there, I continued doing more volunteer work with Accessurf and the children and so forth. That was great. But then in 2011, I worked with an HIV and Hepatitis B and AIDS, all that stuff. And this is part of the story as well. Like when I met him, when I saw him, good friend of mine, he was on a mattress on the floor because he couldn't really move very much, and it was in Thailand, so they're limited to what resources they have. And I remember he looked like a corpse, and I really didn't know what I was doing. In that respect, I never dealt with somebody who was in such a grave state, couldn't eat, could basically just watch him. All you're looking at is watching somebody die, and it was very scary. And there I learned, with the assistance of the people at the Gerson Institute at the time, how to approach that situation. Because I got there, and then the following day, we got blood work done. And in Thailand, it's easy, $30 will get you the whole blood panel. Here in the United States, not so easy. Over there it's easy, just get it. And they were afraid to touch him. They put gloves on, everything else, which is good reason, I guess. And I remember as I worked on him, he looked really bad, and I was able to bring him back. I have videos and pictures of the progress. It was amazing, and I can go in more detail, but I'll make it very short with this respect. I saw a person who was like a dead person come back to joking with him, laughing with him. He was able to eat by himself. He was able to brush his own teeth for a while. And then I saw the confidence my friends had. Oh, he's getting better. Let's take him to the hospital. I said, no, the hospitals put him in this state. Oh, no, he's just going to be a checkup. He'll be fine. And I stood by the door. I said, I'm not going to let you take him. He told me he doesn't want to be taken there because he felt that they had killed his wife, and he was suffering their decisions. And no, he'll be fine. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I'm going to stand here by the door, and you can punch me out, but I'm not going to let you. If this was you, I'll fight for you. I'll fight to the death for you, I told my friend. And my friend told me, listen, I'll be by his side the whole time. If he does pass away here, then if the police come here and question why wasn't he taken to a hospital, you'll be at fault, and you can go to, you might rot in a Thai prison. And I said, I don't care. And he said, no, but I'll be there with him. And I said, oh, okay, well, I mean, all right. I as much as I could fight, I thought there's very little I can do. So he took him, and that's where they did inject him with some sodium something or other. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but he said he swole up like a balloon. He got into a coma for 3 days. And it was tragic. We had the funeral, and it was tough for me, of course tough for him and his family, but when you don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. And he did have a healing flare-up. This is important to note. Healing flare-ups aren't talked about in any book. I don't know why, except the Gerson books. But even the Arnold Laird books, they don't talk about healing flare-ups. A lot of these 80-10-10, all these books are pretty. All the books are pretty. They don't tell you where the tiger bites you. And the tiger will bite you. So just imagine. The best way to imagine it, and I'm telling you on the screen right now, and the people here in person, picture a child, a beautiful, beautiful child, and picture holding that child. And just imagine with the mask. It's a good example. I don't have the mask on me, do I? No, but imagine the mask on the child, and imagine holding it and covering the child for a long time. The child is frustrated, is suffocating, is angry, wants to yell out and scream. So what happens is when you do the necessary steps to start releasing those blocks, the child's going to scream. It's going to be painful. So with Jakob, his leg, screaming wise, his leg inflamed like a big sausage. It was scary to all of us. We were scared what was happening. It's a healing flare-up. Shortly after that, his leg started moving, and this is a leg that was pretty much paralyzed. It was just frozen stiff. And after that inflammation and release, he was able to move his leg again. So during healing flare-ups, they're going to be noted as rashes sometimes. Could be inflammation, like a pain in your joint, where your body's actually fixing something that's fixing itself. They could be dizziness. Dizziness is definitely one of them. Outbursts, emotional outbursts. I can't tell you how many times people have cursed at me and yelled at me and then apologized either shortly or maybe years later. It happens too. Years later, they're apologizing and telling me, oh, you saved my life, or whatever. You were part of my healing process. And that's the whole point. You're not really curing me. I'm not curing anybody. I'm not saving anybody. I'm just an example, and I share the example, and your body will heal itself. Your body is its healer. All I can do is share what I can share that can activate that healer within yourself. That's the point of this class and any further classes after this, is just sharing those moments. So take a note of healing flare-ups. Anybody that's considering any kind of change, whether it be a master cleanse or a healing the Gerson way, or even anything really, you're going to have a healing flare-up. So healing flare-ups have to be mitigated, meaning that if you are feeling a certain way, a chamomile tea may help you, peppermint tea, meaning nausea or stomach discomfort. That's what I mean. When it comes to some inflammations, castor oil packs are also on the Gerson Therapy, but you can also apply them without being on the Gerson Therapy. A castor oil pack is just basically castor oil on a flannel, placed directly on your skin where the site of the inflammation is, and then place either plastic or something so you don't get it all messy, but then a water bottle, hot water bottle on top of it, and that'll penetrate your skin and help move things. A typical way of doing it is putting it on the lymphatic, right here in the center of the thalamus gland is right here. You put it there and that'll help stimulate the lymphatic system. Of course, many of us have somewhat background, or at least when we were kids, we learned something in science class with our body, the anatomy of the body. But yeah, we have to stimulate the lymphatic system. Oftentimes it's stagnant, it's not moving. And if you're not moving it, it can be bad. It's like you can almost relate it to like a sewage system. And if it's just sitting there, it's really not good for you. So healing flare-ups. Clay packs are also important. Clay packs is, if you ever heard of bentonite clay, it'll help absorb inorganic materials in your body. So if you've ever taken medications, if you've ever been around pesticides or things like that, it'll help slowly pull those things out of your body, consuming it. So look into that. I'm not saying how much to take, and I would definitely not recommend taking anything without looking into it a little more than what I'm sharing at this moment. Because if you take too much of it, it can kind of suck a little too much more that you want, and you might have a little difficulty going to the bathroom because it does become like a little rock. So less better, like a quarter teaspoon for some of these very powerful clays. And I talked about that. Juicing is a big part of the Gerson therapy. So everyone that goes through the Gerson therapy process, it's juice. Just like when I started the story with the master cleanse, it was lemonade. And when I went raw and fruitarian and all that, it all led back to juice. So the difference with the Gerson therapy versus these other methods like juice feasting or things like that is that instead of depriving myself of other nourishment, it supplements it. So you're getting something called hyperalimentation, meaning that you're getting a tremendous amount of nourishment. 22 to 25 pounds of produce you're getting juiced. So every day you're consuming 25 pounds of produce in juice form, and on top of the soups, the potatoes, the salads, you're getting a tremendous amount of food. So the young woman I'm going to help in California soon, she's got a compromised body, so she can't consume so much. She can't. It's impossible. Her intestines, her stomach, everything else is jacked. So she has to get so much in juice form, and then whatever she can get. Because remember, we have to be very, very aware and sensitive to her dietary needs. And sometimes you'll meet people that may mean well, or they're more. In my experience, a lot of them are more into their belief system versus meaning well. And they'll just say, oh, just eat a bunch of fruits, you'll be fine. Or just sit in a room, close all the doors and just sit there for like 5 days, 10 days fasting, and don't assist your body flushing. Those are dangerous things. I don't recommend that. I've done it myself, and I don't recommend it. The damage is long term. So the juicing, go crazy on juice, go nuts on juice. Cleansing, that's a part of the therapy, absolutely, because you're assisting your body flushing the stuff out. And then on top of that, the soups are important because it helps assist the organs. When it comes to the diet, it's going to be removing stuff that your body has a little more difficulty processing. So that means the proteins, excess fats, all sodium chloride, all sodium, all salt. Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, all that stuff is avoid. You can use other kind of stuff that's salty tasting, like vegetables, perfectly great. Vegetable stock is amazing. Garlic, onions, fine. So that's the thing. So the diet, you want to make sure it's vegetarian, as much vegetarian as you can. Of course, some of us that are on the video or here in person, if you're still eating some dairy products or eggs or fish, reduce as much as you can. That's the honest, beautiful way. And if you're able to, as an example, some people practice Lent. I think it's coming up in March, or whatever, Ramadan or something, whatever it is you found is pretty neat. Use that as a moment to just experiment and give it a shot. If it's a week, that's great. If it's a few days, that's beautiful. If you're able to go longer, see for yourself how you feel, how your body feels. And then the biggest argument I've had, or statement, I guess, is somebody who is either plant-based or vegan. Sometimes they'll say they do it for the animals or the ethical reasons. The challenge with that is that we were setting ourselves up for failure 100% of the time, because if we fail to take into account, I mean, if doing something may cause harm to yourself, you're eventually not going to stop doing it. So when you actually follow a lifestyle, a diet that is sustainable, and you could share it with the rest of the people in your life, and not try to hide it and not try to push it, those two things, then people find that interesting, and it's lovely, and it's nice, it's not invasive. And if you're getting great results, people are going to be like, what are you doing different? I want to do that different. Like me, like I said, I'm 47 years old. I run 10 miles. When I'm back in Hawaii, I run 10 miles a day, ride 30 miles and bike, and I lift weights about an hour every day. I've been taking a break for the last almost a few weeks now, almost a month. So, and it's not like I'm not winning awards for this. I'm doing this specifically because when I'm helping a woman, when I did help a woman up and down 5 or 6 times, it hurt my back, and you got to be ready to on call. So for anyone else who's changing their lifestyle, just celebrate those small changes. Don't knock yourself if you go back to, that's the most important thing with unlocking and unblocking, is that also gives you permission to kind of forgive yourself or at least take note. Maybe not forgive yourself, but at least say, hey, I'm just human and I'm gonna fall and it's okay. I hear every day. Today I heard somebody tell me, hey, I'm having a lot of negative pressure, depression, whatever, because people are attacking me because I'm no longer plant-based or vegan or whatever, or raw, whatever the word it is. Those are empty titles. All those are empty titles. What I try to describe everybody as is they're beautiful angels. We're just simply beautiful angels, and we fall, we get back up, and do it the best we can. So that's the biggest one. So I'm going to open up to questions and answers in just a couple of minutes, but I wanted to just finish saying that. So the Gerson Therapy has, like I said, has been effective in helping every single person at every stage that I've noticed. And I'm not saying this to promote it and then to buy into something. I'm just saying that's my experience. If there's another experience that someone else has with success, I'm very happy to entertain that or humor that or listen to it. But one of the things I found so beautiful about Charlotte Gerson when I met her in person is that's her attitude as well. Like, if you're having success with your thing, I want to learn about it. She says it's great. It's easier than what we do. And her attitude was like, show me who you've come through you and been cured. You got to be careful how we say that word. So there's questions before I close. This is the 4 questions. I think it's 4. So if you're going to speak to a physician, doctor, medical person, healer, whoever, even me, ask somebody straight. If they're offering any kind of help to help you out a little bit, ask these questions. You can take a note of this. Please take notes. These are important questions. How many people have you cured? It's a simple question. Or how many people has your method cured, if you want to take it away from their responsibility? How many people has your way of doing things cured? Whether it be chemo, this, and that, cured. And we're not talking about remission. We're talking about no more. Nothing for the rest of their life. If they're taking a substance for the rest of their life, they're not cured. They're dependent. They're addicted. So that's number 1, cured. How many cured? Number 2, second question. How many have you killed? Has the therapy killed? Answer that. It's okay. We kill people sometimes. I haven't, but some people do, and they get a professional license for it. So, cured, killed, right? Yeah, exactly. I could tell you stories about them too. I've had them. So the third question. Remember, cured, killed. Third one. How many people have become addicted, whether through your own therapy, healing method, or advice, suggestion, whatever? Addicted means that you have to take that substance, whether it be an essential oil, whether it be a pharmaceutical medicine, weed, crack, whatever. How many people, or what is it, fentanyl? Fentanyl is very popular right now, and other opioids, let's say. So remember, cured, killed, addicted, right? Those are really important questions. If you had a problem with your car, would you take your car to a mechanic who's not even driving a car, a broke down car? No, you don't want to take that advice. So cured, killed, addicted. And and the last 4th question. So with the people that you've had great success with, which one knows if they did or not, would you put me in contact with a customer, with a recovered customer? Why not? These are good questions.
They should be proud of that, right?
They should be very proud of that record. I'm proud of my record. People that are still alive that's done my therapy and my method. Or not mine, excuse me, Dr. Max Gerson's method, but the one that I've chosen to use. And that also applies to the fasting retreats, to Fruitarian stuff and all that. They've got some good, cool stuff, but once again, is it duplicatable? Right. And unfortunately, like John and I were at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, beautiful people, I promise you, there were some gorgeous people, inside and out, with great intentions, great, beautiful, whatever. They've gone through some great healing as well. But because they never really unblocked and unlocked some things come back with a vengeance. Like, whoa. And so some people go back to their previous lifestyle, and once again, they feel bad. If it's like somebody who's drank alcohol, myself, and if I go back to enjoying alcohol, then I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to feel guilty. I'm going to hide it, and. So my advice is always ask those questions. Cured, killed, addicted, and show me the results. because all these fasting retreat people, they charge $8,000 or what crazy amount of money to not eat food in a room, and you have to convince yourself that you're healing, no matter how horrible you feel and can't move. And yeah, you're going to lose weight, but then you're going to gain weight with a vengeance. Same with my good friend who was on a documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and he suffered from that as well, the rebound. With this, you go crazy. With my lifestyle, with John's lifestyle even, you eat the heck out of food. You enjoy food, like and you like lose weight. Like, this is awesome. Like, why am I going to deprive myself of happiness, right? Yeah, it's beautiful. And depriving, you're just going to be more vicious. So with the Gerson therapy, oh my God, I can't tell you how many people say, oh, I love this. Oh, I'm drinking.
We have a question from the chat. Can you speak about juicing and which juicers would you recommend?
Awesome, great question. All right, juicing and juicers. So my first juicer I recommend that I used at the time, it's no longer available now, the company went out of business, was Norwalk Juicer. And now the company that I use juicers from is called Pure Juicer, Pure Juice. The owner of the company is David Feinberg. Wonderful, exceptional customer service, like incredible customer service. And he goes out of his way to try to make his juices affordable for everyone. I know he did drop the price. When I bought it, it was like almost $2,600. It went down to 24, 22. I think there's a model now for 20, yeah, $2,000, I think. And even then, if you go on the Gerson Therapy support group and other resources, there are people that have cured themselves or their grandma or whoever it is, their mom, and they no longer have they don't have a use for that big juicer sometimes, or they just need money. So you'll find a good deal. You'll find one for less than that sometimes. So now as far as juice goes, if this question applies with that, so that's the juicer I recommend. So the Pure Juice, if you're going to do the Gerson therapy. Sometimes it's good to get a couple of people to chip in, and make some juice for them. I've done that. I do that now. I give free juice to the person next door in LA. So Pure Juice. Second juicer I would recommend, less expensive, much less expensive, but quality juice. The Champion Juice is excellent. Champion Juicer, I think they're brand new. They're in the 400 range. So Pure Juicer's in the $2,000 range. The step, still good quality juice, is Champion Juicer. The only caveat or the only thing to consider when you get it for the Gerson therapy, for normal use, perfect. If you can do the Gerson therapy, there's presses. You buy them for a couple of hundred or even cheaper on eBay or something. It's a press. And they'll press out all the enzymes and everything out of that produce. You'll get more juice for your money. So Champion Juice Press. Angel Juice Press is excellent. Also, I believe the Omega is well. I believe the Omega sells their same model to Omega and what's the company next to Omega? It's not same like it, but you'll see the Omega slow press juicer, Huron is the same. They'll sell the same model, but just a different name, and the warranties are different. Yeah, is that
That's it, yeah.
question?
That's a great response. That was the question.
Okay, so yeah, that's the biggest one. Now I'll open up to some questions and answers here or there. Any questions? Yes.
All those recipes would be in the book with Charlotte's book.
Oh yes.
So that would include everything in there that we would need. And so once you take the therapy, you transition off the therapy to what?
Oh, this is a great question. Okay, this is a beautiful question. I love this question. So once you do the therapy, when you got it complete, you can transition to maintenance therapy. Maintenance, just simple maintenance.
Okay.
Meaning that you go back to eating foods that you enjoy, absolutely. But just in either reduced some of the foods so you don't get sick again. So I've had, not that I condone this, but I've had little old men tell me that they're drinking beer, like a little bit of beer, once every month. The woman I just met, a beautiful, I don't want to call anyone's names, but just, I've had people that still drink, but when it upsets the people that love them, of course, because they don't want them to suffer. Nobody does. But the person can't drink more than a little bit now. Their tolerance level is so low. That is like, yeah, I went through that myself. I experienced it as well. Yeah, I used to drink. So now you know what I get drunk? I get drunk off of pineapple juice. No. I get drunk off of juices. That's not on the therapy, but I'm just saying, I gotta go wild. I'm gonna get wild on pineapple juice. Woo! So now the maintenance food, this is good that you said that. So this is a great guide. Now this is not the Gerson therapy, but as far as a decent guide to live off, the mucusless diet healing system is totally fine. If you want to as far as a simple guidance, and it's very much similar to the Gerson therapy, meaning the diet is. Not the therapy, but the diet. And the reason why I say this is because it focuses on foods that don't form mucus in the body, or at least eliminate it and reduce it, which is very important. He has a theory regarding what all diseases cause from, which is interesting. It's decent. It's decent to read. The other one I would recommend, as far as learning a maintenance diet, to some extent, the 80-10-10 diet is nice to as a guide. Dr. McDougall is excellent as well. He's amazing. He's more of a starch-based diet, which is okay. It's great. I mean, people live long and happy, and he's been able to reverse diabetes in certain people and so forth. Gout and other issues, arthritis, has been able to reduce the effects. So Dr. McDougall is an excellent resource. Neil Bernard is amazing. Who's the other? McGregor, right? McGregor is really good.
Neil Bernard has a book on diabetes. It's really good.
Neil Bernard, Barnard. So those are really good. What's beautiful is even if you're doing the therapy, or if you're not doing the therapy, or if you're just doing it for maintenance, these are amazing points of references. Like Dr. McDougall is a godsend. Neil Bernard is. Was it Colin Campbell? You'll find Esselstyn. You'll find these people online. The most important thing I could share with that, though, why I prefer them versus some people might seem a little more extreme, is because they have results. They have actual documented results of the people they've cured and helped cure or whatever. Some people might, like, as much as I love Arnold Ehret, I love the stuff he says and it's enjoyable. I don't have people that have successfully, I mean, yeah, they're clean their skin, eczema and other things, yeah, wonderful, but does he have an actual documented history of he's got wonderful things he writes, and I do agree with a lot of stuff in there. But with Dr. Max Gerson, he's got actual documentation, and there's people that can remember the four things. The fourth thing is finding out your customer base. If they're happy with you. Arnold Ehret, I can honestly say I've met more people that maybe not have interpreted his work as well, and so sometimes they deprive themselves of enough, and you'll see these people believing that they're breatharian. Or Fruitarian, whatever it is. The fact is, they're gout, they're not as physically moving. I mean, John never ran before. He says he didn't run before Woodstock, and this guy ran 6 miles. It's like, I never ran before. All right, let's rank you run. This guy ran 6 miles. He's my Superman, my Greek Superman right here. So there you go. He proved to me he can do it. No excuse. And because of him, I had to run more. Right? I had to run more after that. So that's the maintenance. So maintenance is a good guide. I recommend McDougall, Bernard, and so forth, who have a track record of like awesome experience. Any other question, online or in person? Ask me crazy questions. I don't mind.
One person commented on the concerns being how long it takes to clean the juicer.
Oh.
Things like that. And if you want to touch on those.
Of course. So the easiest cleaning I love is the pure juicer. You know why I love the pure juicer? Because it's designed like with ergonomics and also easiness to clean. The tray comes off, the little thing comes off with one switch, and just simple wipe with either a vinegar and water, or if you want to use a Dr. Bronner's type thing, which you don't have to, but at the end of the day you can. Very simple and easy to clean. Another beautiful thing that I'm going to share with all of you that you might like, I love to death, is ice cream. That you freeze bananas, you peel them, freeze them, put them to the juicers, the one I just mentioned, all of them come out to be the most amazing ice cream you've ever had.
You can put it in a juicer?
Oh man, it's the best. You're talking about addiction and good addiction? And
you
it's
don't have to blend it.
Don't have to blend it. And you can eat the heck out of it. You can eat as much as you want and no gain weight. You feel amazing. You can be, all your guilt is gone, right?
Yeah,
and cheap.
Baked sugar,
Nothing. You go look at Ben & Jerry's, you got like 50 different ingredients for all this crazy stuff. Well, it's going to take a long time for your body to get that stuff out. A banana is a banana. Put it through the blender, and you can mix in vanilla flavors. If you like cacao and chocolates or mint leaf, oh my gosh, you're talking about the sky's the limit.
Go wild.
Go crazy wild. Go nuts. Oh yeah, you got kids or you have kids in the area, they'll love the ice cream. They won't know the difference. Oh yeah, easy, one ingredient, and then you can add flavors, of course. Oh man, I love it. Yeah, it's my favorite, right? Oh yeah, I make more ice cream than I do juice sometimes. It's fun. Oh man, I was part of the ice cream team at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, so. Oh yeah. Here's for you and here's for me. Any kind of fun questions? You ask me and I'll help you right now. You have somebody who's actually been on the ground on the front lines helping people with the most scariest stuff. So as much as I'm having fun, I can help you right now with anything you may either have a question for yourself or do what I do, like I have a friend. I got a friend. Anybody's got a friend?
I can comment on the Gerson Therapy.
Oh yeah, sure.
I come stand next to you for a
Oh yeah,
second.
come here front. This is
Hey, how's
John.
it going, guys? I'm John.
John here.
I met Anthony just last year, and pretty recently, and we had honestly studied a lot of the same things in the past. And I met him at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and we touched on like some of these books. We've both read a lot of these books, the Arnold Ehret, and I came across the Gerson Therapy. And at the time, I look like a pretty normal person right now. I've been kind of skinny my whole life. I never really got into like any extreme health problems, but I had a few things, that were kind of like small debilitating things. I had migraines often. I'd get sick all the time. I was on a lot of antibiotics for like sinus infections, and a couple of years ago I had this rash all over my body. I went to neurologists, cardiologists, all the ologists. They're like, yeah, just don't exercise. We don't know what to tell you. We can't figure it out. We did blood work, allergy tests, and everything was just negative. And so I decided to give the Gerson Therapy a shot. I figured, well, I don't have cancer. I'm not dying, but I'm uncomfortable. And so I did the Gerson Therapy and did the juices, and I did the coffee enemas. And it's not glamorous to talk about, but it's like it's life changing. And I did it. I did it for 9 months straight, which was pretty profound. I didn't think I would even want to do it, and I started feeling like, I was like, man, this is amazing. I felt really good, and I stuck with it, and I feel like that really accelerated things, and now I just feel amazing. Like I don't ever have headaches. I haven't gotten sick since. It's been great, and I do a lot of juicing still. During the morning I'll make orange juice, and I very much wanted to test it on myself to see, because I came across this information and I said, well, if it's real, then it'll work, right? I was like, I don't believe you. Let me try it.
Oh yeah.
So now I tell other people about it that are suffering, and it's I'm able to say, hey, I did it myself, and I documented it, took pictures of how I changed, and some things I was juicing and stuff like that. So
cool.
I want to say thanks for presenting on that.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much. My pleasure. Yeah, John is an excellent example. I met him, and he's absolutely lives the word. You could say, and I did follow up with some of the people. I was just in Georgia with someone I haven't seen in 10 years. They definitely are applying the therapy for themselves and their family and everyone they're meeting. And it's really cool to see, like, just planting a seed of someone else's work and just seeing the progress. The people I've helped also recently were, I met them in their 50s, mid-50s. Now they're in their 60s. We just ran our marathon together, Honolulu Marathon. And it's amazing because these people can barely walk. When I first met them, one had really bad tumors in the uterus area. The other one had kidney stones, really painful. And I helped the kidney stones within a week, and her fibroids, her tumors, have been, they've been shrinking and disappearing, and it's been wonderful to see them look younger now, 10 years later, in their 60s than they did in their 50s, and running marathons.
So that diet helps with that, because what happens with
Yes.
me is I've had surgeries.
Oh, you can?
To get them out.
Yes.
And I'll get them out, and my stomach will shrink.
Yeah.
And then, usually, and I have heavy periods.
Yes.
Really bad.
Oh, yeah.
For months. I get blood transfusions, all that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'll be good for 4 to 6 months, and
Yes.
then boom, I'm back at big belly,
Yeah.
back to the crazy periods.
Yeah.
But they won't. At first, I wanted them to do a hysterectomy because I have kids already.
Yes.
And then I started doing more research
Good.
on it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want that.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of tired of it.
Yes, yes.
Because it drains me.
Okay.
I will get pale, I will pass out.
Yes.
And my mom gets really worried because I've had a lot of transfusions over this. So this will help with that as well.
Yes, the big thing is that any of us, all of us in this room right now, and those online too, and forgive me if anyone's online that they need to take care of their children or something, thank you very much, but I'm going to continue speaking, so anyone who's online can benefit this, and they'll be recorded so you can get the benefit of this. So I'm going to
questions coming in too, so we'll touch on those too.
Oh, good, excellent. I'm happy that you're you're putting up with me. That's good. So you're getting extra for nothing. So what I need to address with you very importantly, can I use your name? Stephanie? Stephanie. I know your name, of course I do. But I'm saying I want to be, polite. So Stephanie, one of the things that I'm going to tell you that is incredibly important, that there's going to be some modifications. Good modifications, nothing terrible. But even more important than that is use that, all of us in this room right now and online, use that fire, that I'm upset, I'm tired of taking the transfusion, I'm tired of feeling this way, I'm tired of, he was talking about the rashes on his body. In my case, I was overweight and had all these sleeping problems, narcolepsy almost, you know. I don't believe I messed with the microphone for a little bit. So use that as fire, because if you don't, we were like that dog that sits on the cold icy porch where it hurts, stings, but then they just keep on sitting on it. So you want to use that fire to make an accelerated plan, MAP, a massive action plan. And so you want to do is MAP, you can write that, massive action plan. And that means get the right resources, with like I said, those 4 things. How many people have killed, cured, addicted, and whatever? Can you talk to people that have been cured? So you can go on the Gerson Therapy support group with Kathleen Blake as a moderator and ask somebody of what they're going through. I have somebody who's got MCAS, but with this, what you're going through, so some modifications, I'm not going to go into detail now because some people might take the wrong information. But there are modifications. I highly suggest getting in touch with the support group I mentioned. Also an actual certified practitioner. Like I was on a Zoom call with a doctor from Italy, but there's doctors all over the world that are certified because they're used to this and have achieved success, and they do confer with succeeding. So as far as your situation goes with you choosing not to get the snip and removal, it's a good way.
I have my tubes tied.
No, I'm talking about the whole.
Oh, okay, because I didn't have this issue until I got my tubes tied.
Trust me,
I don't know if that threw something off.
Oh, I'm just saying, if you do the major one, then that's going to obviously take an effect. And from what I've understood, and you can do the research yourself, but the life expectancy for someone after they remove such a hysterectomy is much shorter, and including other complications that go with that. So a great example. I don't like to say this in a sad, hard way, but young women have been taking birth control and other things and other devices, and there's a lot of stuff that happens to the body. So cabbages, broccolis, cauliflowers, they all they support their hormones. And with women, they have to worry about the hormones. So you got to get a lot of cruciferous, especially cabbages, to support your hormone development, and so forth, because there's issues. There's thyroid medication, there's Lugol's. I can go down the list, but more importantly, Gerson Therapy support group, great resource. I'm giving my business for free. No, no, this is free information. Talk to these people. The practitioners will help you as well with the best they can. Experience, documentation, that'll help you out. So in your case, absolutely can help you. And just there's some modifications you're going to use that are different for me or for John or for Richard or anybody else in this room that might need different things. Does that help you a little bit?
That covers one question too. Yeah, that covers one too. Someone also asked how to find mentors. How do we if we're interested in more, but the Facebook group is great.
And follow. The reason why I'm saying this because I've helped someone who decided to, with the love I can give for someone. Sometimes we want to do things our way.
Yeah.
And the way they did things their way, and they are suffering greater issues because of doing things their way. And so I'm talking about strokes and other issues. So when you do the Gerson therapy, just know this, and this is saying it to the camera and to everybody in this room, one of the things that the Gerson therapy is well respected for, and also to take to consideration caution, is that it will stimulate. It is intended to stimulate healing flare-ups. That's why some people who have nerve damage, brain tumors, are not supposed to do the Gerson therapy, or at least get ready for it until some things are removed, because it'll inflame the tumors as it breaks them down. It will enlarge while they break it down, when it starts breaking down. So the amount of enzymes you're going to take are going to help destroy those tumors and remove them from your body. So take into account that when we do the Gerson therapy, we've got to be strict and follow it until your stuff is gone, and then you can go happily ever after and live with less of the issues. But we have to follow the therapy as recommended by the physician that's taking care of you, or at least giving you that consultation, the modification, and then follow the book, the Healing the Gerson Way, and then you will have greater success if you follow. And what's that?
Yeah, we have one more too. How long does it take the average person to make the juices that are being drank daily on the Gerson therapy?
How long does it take to make the juices?
Yeah, like every day for each.
Every day. So I'm going to tell you the average person and the super person and the super juicer. So for me, I bring a watch. I don't have my watch on me right now, but I time everything I do from start to the end of the day. And so for me, I got it down to when you get it good, 5 minutes. maybe 5 minutes to make juice, 8 ounces of juice for one person. Now, if you are trying to, and you have to drink it fresh when you make the juice. All of us that are not going through the Gerson therapy, you can drink juice when you need to, but if you're doing it specifically for the Gerson therapy, you want to drink it as fresh as possible, about 5 minutes. The longest I've taken, maybe 8 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes. But that's fresh juice. And remember, this is not for the rest of your life. This is just for this period of time. And I've worked with Mr. Sage, who had stage 4 lung cancer, could barely walk when I helped him, and he had to hand-crack the hydraulic press. He had to do the champion juicer all by himself when I wasn't there, and he did it. So you can definitely do it. And you don't want to make the juice. I think the carrot and apple juice, you might be able to put it in the refrigerator. So you might be able to, I don't want to say skip, but you can make a little extra carrot apple juice in the event, because it's about 3 juices, 3 carrot juices, carrot, apple, green juice, carrot, apple, green juice. I memorize this stuff. So the green juice, no. The carrot apple juice, you might be able to keep a little extra. Yeah.
Yeah, with the juices, it's the same thing with when you cut an apple and it turns brown after, or an avocado will turn black. They oxidize, so you lose. The longer you wait, the more they lose their potency. So that's why you would make it fresh.
Oh, word of caution with the juice, now that you said that and you brought my attention to it, is you will experience an immediate healing flare-up. Like healthy bodies will feel a little high, a little buzz. I gave a glass of carrot apple juice to an 18-year-old friend of mine, a daughter of my good friends who are some Tongan, which are heavier, bigger people from Samoa type areas, bigger islanders. And I remember they called me that evening, hey, we had to take our daughter to the emergency room. So, what happened? Was anything wrong with the carrot apple juice? I said, no, we all drank it. We're all fine. I make it every day. When's the last time your daughter had organic, fresh pressed carrot apple juice? Oh, she never has it. What does she normally drink? Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever, sodas, and all this really unhealthy junk foods. So it'll immediately react. Oh, word of caution for all of you that are considering changing a little bit, fruits before your meals. Don't eat fruits after your heavy meals, because fruits will cause gas and everything else because they digest faster, and we need to know that. Some people are excited about eating a lot of fruits. I love eating fruits, but just be mindful of at least 20 or 30 minutes before your meals. That's important to know. Me being Spanish and Colombian, and we typically eat our fruits after our meals, but no, eat it before your meals. That's good advice. Yeah. Oatmeal every day. If you're doing this therapy, juice every day, the soup every day. And then, of course, there's really cool recipes in the books. So the cauliflower recipes, squashes, there's foods. And then, of course, there are certain situations where some people can eat some legumes, some grains, but those are certain very specific. It's not on the therapy, but you have to make little changes. Just like going on a mucusless diet healing system or something, there's transition. So on this diet, it's a ton of potatoes. That's just a reality. I'm not going to lie. There's a ton of potatoes, like crazy amount of squashes. And it's okay. It's great, but when you get past that, you can eat differently. But the therapy, it's a lot of potatoes. Oh yeah, German.
So how long does the diet normally last? Does it depend
The
on
therapy?
The individual?
The therapy in the book used to be like a year and a half to just make sure everything is clean and done and cured. That's the reason why it used to be that way. Now it's 2.5 years, just because things have become a lot more nutrient deficient, a lot more polluted, a lot more toxic. The Wi-Fi didn't exist back then. A lot of the chemicals we have in the air right now don't exist back then. So 2.5 years doesn't mean you're on the full-on therapy for 2.5 years. It means you get there when you can, when you're doing a full-on therapy, and then you start gradually reducing it and introducing things back into your lifestyle. So the purpose of that is because a lot of the major stuff, like in my experience, I've seen a lot of stuff pretty quickly, change pretty fast. I had a woman in Texas who responded really well. I mean, she's passed on recently, but she did respond really well to her pain being alleviated. Mr. Sage as well, really fast. Within a 2-3 day window, the pain is gone, and it's pretty awesome. No painkillers. The woman in Thailand with a brain tumor I helped, she was sent home to die with a bag of painkillers. And people are on morphine are they're not even responsive. So I got her off all the painkillers, and so you'll see a lot of really cool changes to the condition you're having and so forth. You're going to see the woman I helped who had the fibroids, she was happy because she stopped having the heavy flow, heavy bleeding, and I didn't realize, 'cause I'm a man obviously, but it's really painful. It's really not good. And so when she did it, she felt great. It's like, I'm amazing. I feel I'm cured. And she went out to go celebrate. So she went to P.F. Chang's. And at P.F. Chang's, she had these chicken sliders, and boom, flow started again, and she was in severe pain. And it's because you have to be not rigid, but you have to follow that therapy until it's done. And when it's done, you ain't gonna suffer anymore. At least, until you do something else, let's say.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a question in, is it okay to mix fruits and veggies in a meal if we're not fully juicing yet? And what would be under the potato category?
Oh yeah, okay, potato category is easy to answer. Sweet potato, Okinawan potato, any potato. I do understand, what is it called, botanically speaking maybe. I think the sweet potato is not actually considered a typical potato. It's a tuber, whatever. But you can have this, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, Yukon, Golds. Go crazy on potatoes. Potatoes like a nutcase. You can't go wrong with potatoes. And organic. Organic as best you can. If you can't find organic, try to find farmers or no spray, because it does cost money to get certified, so it's understandable. Know the farmer if you can. And the other question was the vegetables and fruits.
Yeah.
So fruit combining, when it comes to botanical or biological, right, versus culinary, that's a distinction, because some vegetables like tomatoes are fruits, biologically speaking, botanically speaking. So you can mix those things. So the biggest challenge you have is with root vegetables, heavier vegetables, and a sweet fruit, let's say, because the sweet fruit's going to break down faster and it's going to cause a little bit of gas and a little bit of discomfort, let's say. But tomatoes and potatoes are fine. That's in the soup. Tomatoes with any vegetable like asparagus, broccoli, eggplants, those are fine. The biggest thing you want to worry about when you're mixing vegetables and fruits is if it's really sweet, very watery, it's going to want to get out of your body as fast as possible, and raw, of course. But people, like the woman I'm going to help in San Diego, she can't consume raw apples at this moment just because she's very debilitated, let's say, compromised. So we're going to have to stew the apples, like an applesauce for her. Same with us. If we have any issues, we want to have it in our system, but it could be a little too raw for us. So stewing some of the vegetables, some of the fruits. If you're going to have any dried fruits, this is important that this person asked. We want to soak them. So dates, raisins, dried apricots, dried whatever, dried apple, dried whatever, soak them. But you don't want to be eating dried fruits. As much as they sell them everywhere, dried fruits, I love them. I'm not going to lie. I cheat sometimes, but dried fruits, no. You want to soak them before you consume them. Nuts, same thing. It's not on the therapy. Nuts and seeds are not on the therapy, but before you start the therapy, if you're eating, same thing, you want to soak them to the phytic acid. You want to release the phytic acid. That applies to nuts, certain grains. And what that does is, so what I remember, and I'm not going to quote, it's not fair to quote, but let's say someone really important said if you want to define poison, it's anything that inhibits an enzyme. And so that's this person's, not mine. But it made sense. Anything that stops something from breaking down is poison to the body. Same thing with medicines. Every medicine is liver toxic. Anything. When I hear the word medicine, I'm like, whoa. Anytime somebody tells me this medicine, that medicine, I go, oh. Let food be thy medicine and so forth. That's Hippocrates' statement. But what that means when you hear, and I'm not going to talk ill of anybody's modality, because that's not fair, whether it be Chinese, Ayurvedic, doesn't matter. And I've talked a little bit about the fasting, but that's because I have concern over somebody just jumping and maybe hurting themselves. But by all means, it's okay to approach and to learn. It's great to learn, to explore these ideas, but just realize that this process that I started, way back in the beginning to the Gerson therapy, this is something that's been established by an actual medical doctor, physician, a German physician. Not to say all doctors have all the answers, but he definitely documented all this. He took his patients to a Senate hearing to show the floor, the House floor, like, hey, they sent them home to die, cured. They sent this person home to die, cured. And he was up against Sloan Kettering and John Hopkins and all these major Rockefellers and big shots trying to ban him and threaten him. So this is, it's very important to kind of share this. And if there was an easier way, I'll be the first person to jump. Over at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, everybody's touting Orintherapy. And I'll say it's piss therapy. It's not, you're surrounded by nothing but fruits, beautiful fruits, tasty watermelons and papayas, all types of tropical fruits. And then people are trying to convince you to drink, not everybody, just a couple of people with a triangle on their head. We're trying to get me to drink, urine. And I'm like, how's that working for you? If
Remember you said, show me the people you've cured with this, and they said, well.
Show me who you've cured. I want to meet them. You know, who's that worked for? And what happens is, and I'll say this, if no one's asking questions, I'll finish this up here. Very important thing with urine therapy, fasting, or just 100% raw fruits and stuff, which is, I'm not going to say they're evil or bad, that's not fair, but the state of mind that I've worked with, including myself, I've suffered injuries like loopy, unproductive, and maybe John's experienced that as well, where you just are weak mentally and you're easily to be malleable because it's almost like a cult-like dizzy feeling. And I've seen a lot of people with good intentions, they do believe in healing. They'll even put healing as their tag name or whatever, title, handle or whatever. But what I've learned is the difference between the Gerson therapy versus the urine therapy, fasting, juice feasting, whatever, fruit, 100% fruit, all these things are beautiful in the respect that they make sense to generally we should be able to live on nothing but fruits. Those fruits don't exist anymore. It's 2022 though. The fruits that might have existed back in the day, they don't exist anymore. The vegetables don't, nothing existed like it did back then. So maybe it would have been great. Maybe Arnold Ehret's advice for fasting and so forth would have been perfect if you were living in the jungle and whatever. But I could tell you with 100% certainty, and you can find those people out themselves. Beata Bishop wrote a book on this. Janet Murray and Alan, they ran around Australia 26 miles every day for 366 days after cured with breast cancer. The people I helped ran a marathon with me. So I've seen more people become like wired awake, like enthusiastic with moving. Whereas the other people that have done the fasting, the water fasting, the juice fasting, the 100% fruits, I've seen more, I don't know what malleability, easy to be convinced, easy to be kind of, and they're not at their game. They're not able to be productive a lot of times. And I suffered it myself. I'm a victim of it myself, so I'm not just speaking from they did this, I did that. I suffered it myself. And relationships, totally screwed up relationships because the person I was with, wasn't on board to my mentality and friendships too. So, you want to be mindful of that because people do get emotional, and that's really big. So if any of you are going to even consider doing any things I mentioned or the Gerson therapy, prepare the people in your life. Meaning you tell them, hey, I might suffer an emotional, mental kind of, a little let it out. That's totally okay if you let them know up front. And then they're more, okay, I understand. Because you're going to have those bad days. I always tell people that there's no happy healing flare-ups. No one goes, ha, I feel great. No, this sucks,
Yeah. One day one of my eyes was swollen shut. My throat would swell up, as your body is, doing its thing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, the next day you're good.
Yeah. I have. Yeah, I don't know what sneezing is. I don't know what. I really don't. I don't have sneezings. I don't have sneezing fits. I don't have coughing fits. I don't have gas. I don't like natural stuff. I don't feel those things anymore. I might have some gas, of course. That's not fair to say, but
even now, after you're done with the therapy.
Yeah, I feel amazing.
How long have you been off the therapy?
I mean, I do maintenance. Okay. So I still do. I still do the flushes, the enemas. Today my buddy just made me Hippocrates soup at his house, so I love that. Juice, I drink juice almost every day. Okay. And food-wise, my diet is typically always plant-based, but it's typically a lot more fruits. Mm-hmm. And if I'm doing if I'm doing 10-mile runs, 30-mile bike ride, and 1 hour in the gym, I do have to eat cooked foods. I'm not getting enough from just bananas and fruits. I wish I could. I totally wish. But I do eat grains. I do eat rice, sometimes chickpeas. I experiment here and there, and if it doesn't feel good, I go back to fruit. I mean, that's the truth, yeah. But in the meantime, just potatoes to get somebody transitioning from where their standard American diet is. Go potatoes. I mean, I think the Irish, right? The Irish had the great famine or whatever when they were left with nothing but potatoes. Yeah. So you can survive, and McDougall's very proud to talk about people losing weight, and they talk about that whole insulin thing, the diabetic stuff, and he's got results where people were diabetic. They ate a diet of potatoes and his methods and so forth, blood tests and all that, cured. I think type 1 they get classified to type 2. That's sometimes in those kind of cases. Gabriel Cousins has a video film out. I don't condone Gabriel Cousins, but it's called Simply Raw, Reversing Diabetes in 30 Days. He's got a book, it's 21 days, and so does Neil Bernard, but his method isn't something I agree with totally. Dr. Bernard, of course I do. He's definitely well-known, respected. But either way, I mean, people have had type 1 and it was documented. You get to see the people that, the paperwork and everything, and they're no longer type 1 anymore. So that's what I heard. Any other questions there?
Looks like you covered it all.
All right. I'm happy that everybody enjoyed it and got something out of it.
I do have one quick question,
Oh
sorry.
yeah, sure.
The therapy is available online, is that or do we buy a book?
It's a book.
The book, it's
Oh,
Healing the
okay.
Gerson Way. It will have everything in the therapy.
Okay.
And if you want to pursue more information, there's the Max Gerson Foundation. They have a website. I'll just
Okay.
search it. And then the Gerson Institute has their website. A good resource, a great resource that's always up to date, constantly, super up to date, is the Gerson Therapy support group on Facebook.
On Facebook, okay.
And they're always updating, like every second, really. Somebody posts, somebody chimes in about some success. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
One thing
So
as
it
well,
starts with the book.
the audio book is available to buy too, and you can listen to it.
Oh, nice.
If you're driving and you can want to
Yeah.
plug in 10 minutes a day, it's on Audible, or probably on Amazon. But
Yeah. Audible, Amazon, Kindle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I get commission.
Hey.
Every time you buy,
So you do it
I
for a
have
week
to
and
go
tell.
because I have small kids.
Ching.
I have to get them ready for.
they buy carrots. I get every time somebody buys carrots, I make $1 million. I got the corner in carrots and apples, and potatoes.
And she lives far from me, so.
And if we can't get the best juicer, it's still okay, like,
Yeah, of course. You can do the best you can. That's what I always tell people. Do the best you can and get there when you can. And yeah, you'll be surprised. Just get there what you can. If you can't get the best juicer, get what you can.
yeah.
You know.
I have one, but it's one of the ones that like spins and then I get a lot of pulp and it's not a lot of juice and
Yeah, step in that. Use it for now, and you'll just when you're ready to.
dust it off.
Yeah, definitely use it. If you're not using it, yeah, by all means. Oh yeah, she locked it.
And then would you recommend this for thyroid issues? I have
Absolutely.
A few friends with thyroid issues.
Hashimoto's
Really
disease, cured. Yeah, a lot of things are cured. Yeah.
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 Wow.
Oh sure. Arthritis, thyroid. Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Thanks, Stephanie.
So start them with the book.
What's that, Richard?
I was done leaving too, is that all right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
God
By all
bless you.
means. Semper Fi. Thank you.
Alright.
Oh yeah, that's thyroid issues. Lots of. You'd be surprised. Even if you think you're healthy, you do the parts in that book. You'd be like, wow, I didn't know I had that issue. Sleeping issues resolved. High blood pressure. Oh yeah, all kind of stuff you see resolved. And feel free to just stay in touch
I'm
with
very
us.
inspired. Thank you so much.
Oh, my
for
pleasure.
being here. I've been following you for a bit.
Oh.
So when I saw you were here at the spiritual center I come to, I was like, no way.
Oh.
So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, I appreciate
Wow.
that very much.
And then you'll be back, right?
Yes, I'll be
Is
back.
it the same class?
No, the second one, well, it's getting there because I want to make sure that I get the information out there and I'll advance some more information on there. Yeah, there'll be more information, yeah, a little more deeper.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here.
Oh, my
Appreciate
pleasure.
it,
Yeah, my
And you
pleasure.
as well, John.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Great to meet you all.
Nice to meet you as well.
Oh,
Just
thank
make
you.
sure we get everything done.
Oh, yeah.
Really nothing, okay.
Girls, since
All
we
right,
were
we're
so
signing
close
off.
together, we
Want
can
to say goodbye, Anthony?
Oh, yeah.
We're signing off.
Thank you very much for spending time with me, and hopefully I was able to serve whatever need you may have. Thank you. Good night.